Hello, students. Welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. I am your teacher, Mr. Stanley Ombogo. So, dear students, we are still looking at that is the plot analysis of the stories that we have in the anthology A Silent Song and other stories. Again, looking at the language and styles employed, character and characterization, not forgetting the major issues or the thematic concerns that we have in the stories. So far we have been able to look at 9 stories, and in this session, dear students, allow me introduce you to the 10th story. And the story is God Sees the Truth. But wait, the author is Leo Tolstoy. So Leo Tolstoy is coming, so he is a Russian writer. So that still, proves the fact that that is A Silent Song and Other Stories is a unique collection of short stories from various societies across the world. So uh, before we get to look at the plot, that is the title and even the author, uh, when I come across, this story that is God Sees the Truth but Wait, it takes me back to last year's KCSE. That was paper 3. So remember, that is the anthology being introduced. Many students concentrated on the first 3 stories. But what happened? As a surprise, NEC just decided to, set the 10th story, which was, a bit challenging, being that most of the, candidates were not ready. So the question was, the question read, innocent people may suffer from crimes committed by others. So you are to justify that assertion that is using Leo Tolstoy's God Sees the Truth but Wait. So something about the author. So remember, he is Russian. So expect some names that are also Russian. That is some names of characters that are also Russian. So something about that is Leo Tolstoy. We are told that he was born in 1928 in Tula province, Russia. So he is a master of fiction and one of the world's greatest novelists. So Tolstoy is also best known for his finest novels, that is A Peace and Anna Karenina. So his shorter works include Early Death of Ivan Ilyich, The Living Course, and The Kingdom of God is Within You. So in his last 3 decades, Tolstoy worked as a moral and religious teacher, an embodiment of nature and pure vitality. So though dead now, his soul lives as a living symbol of the search for the life's meaning. So that is what we have about Leo Tolstoy. Not detailed, and a lot of information is provided, but that is all we have. So the next thing, let us look at the title of the story, that is God Sees the Truth but Wait. So the title of the story uh, is the best match. It is the best match for the story because it reflects the central theme of the story, which is about the nature of truth, justice, and redemption. So those are some of the central themes that we are going to come across as we look at this story. So the story focus is it focuses on true justice. That is, true justice comes from God, and again, forgiveness is liberating. So throughout the story, the protagonist, who is Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov, is wrongly accused of a crime he did not commit and is sentenced to prison for 26 years. So despite his innocence, Aksionov is resigned to his fate and never loses faith in God. So he prays and reads the lives of the saints and is respected by other prisoners who call him the saint. The title again highlights the idea that God sees the truth of Aksionov's innocence, but chooses to wait and allow the natural course of events to unfold. So the story also brings up the idea of human justice, that is vis-a-vis divine justice. Aksionov is denied justice in the human court system. That is now something about human justice. But he finds peace and redemption through his faith in God. That is what is now bringing the divine justice. So he is ultimately vindicated when the real criminal confesses. But this comes after Aksionov's death, highlighting the idea that justice may be delayed, but it will be served. That is ultimately. So the title also highlights the motive of waiting that runs throughout the story. So Aksionov waits for justice. His wife waits for his release, and his children wait for a father. So Makar Semyonich, who is the real criminal, also waits for Aksionov to speak up, but is ultimately the one who waits for forgiveness. So, in addition, the title of the story, that is God Sees the Truth But Waits, implies that the author believes in a higher power that judges fairly and ultimately. So the story can be read, as a commentary on the idea that while human justice may be flawed and corruptible, God's justice, will eventually be served, and it is the true justice. So let's look at the plot of the story. So God Sees the Truth But Waits is a short story that is by Leo Tolstoy, as said earlier, that follows the story of a man named Ivan Aksionov, who is falsely accused of murder and robbery, and is sentenced to 26 years of imprisonment in Siberia. So before he is framed and accused of the heinous crime, Ivan Dimitrich Aksionov is a young merchant from the town of Vladimir. He owns two shops and a house. So, as a young man, he was unruly and given to drinking a tad too much, but he stopped drinking when he got married. So, one day he bids his family goodbye as he is leaving for the Nizi fair. His wife dissuades him from going since she has had a bad dream about him. She dreams that he would return when his hair is quite grey. She beseeches him to put off the journey till a later date. Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov laughs it off and says that is a lucky sign and carries through with his intended journey. So halfway through the journey, he meets a merchant who is an acquaintance of his. They spend the night at the same inn, have tea together, and sleep in adjoining rooms. The next morning, Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov awakens his driver, pays the owner of the inn, and they leave before dawn. So after about 25 miles, Aksionov decides to rest while his horses are fed. So he is then approached by an official accompanied by two soldiers. The official questions him, revealing that the merchant he spent the night together with at the inn had been murdered. So Aksionov is the prime suspect since he was with the man and then left suspiciously early. Aksionov denies having taken part in any wrongdoing, but when his luggage is searched, the officer finds a blood-stained knife. So the official insists that Aksionov murdered the merchant and continues to cross-examine him on how he did it and how much money he stole. Aksionov pleads innocence, claiming that he only has 8,000 rupees and that the knife is not his. So, with the odds stacked against him, trembling and looking guilty, Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov is apprehended. His money and goods are seized. He weeps bitterly. Inquiries are made about him in his hometown of Vladimir, and it turns out that he used to drink a lot and loaf in his younger days. But he is a good man. Nonetheless, he is charged with murder of the merchant from Ryazan and stealing 20,000 rubles from him. So his wife visits him in prison. She is restricted from seeing him at first. After begging, the officials allow her and the small children to see their father. So she finds at the sight of her loving husband in prison attire and in chains, locked up with thieves and criminals. They talk a bit and he tells her that she must petition the Caesar to spare an innocent man the anguish of unfair retribution. So his wife informs him that her efforts to petition had borne no fruits. She then reminds him of her potential's dream about the gray hair and says, Vanya, dearest, tell your wife the truth. Was it not you who did it? So Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov weeps in disbelief when even his dear wife is dubious, disbelieving, and suspicious. So he realizes that only God knows the truth and is only to him that he should appeal. After that, Aksionov stops writing petitions and gives up all hope, praying only to God. He is condemned to flogging and sent to the mines. He is flogged with the knots and sent to Siberia. He lives in Siberia for 26 years as a prisoner. His hair and beard turn gray and he transforms into a frail old man who walks slowly, speaks little, and never laughs. So, through his time in prison, he becomes known as a meek and pious man among the other prisoners, who even call him grandfather and the saint. So one day, a fresh gang of convicts comes to the prison, and among them, Aksionov meets a man named Makar Semyonich. Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov begins to suspect that Makar Semyonich is the one who committed the murder he had been accused of. This makes him deeply afflicted that he contemplates taking his own life. He remembers his earlier life as a free man with fond nostalgia. He feels deeply downcast when he recalls the happier times with his laughing wife, seeing his little children and how young, happy, and free from care he was. So he also remembers the day he was apprehended, the flogging, the executioner, chains, convicts, and the 26 years in undeserved confinement and hard labor. So he feels deep anger and hatred for Makar Semyonich and longs for revenge. He prays all night but finds no peace. His preceding days and nights are riddled with misery. One night he stumbles upon Makar Semyonich attempting to dig a hole under the wall to escape. So Makar Semyonich threatens to kill him should he tell on him. So to which Ivan replies that you killed me long ago. As to telling of you, I may do so or not, as God shall direct. So when the convoy soldiers discover the tunnel and question Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov, he responds that it is not God's desire that he should tell. So he reasons that he will gain nothing taking revenge on Makar Semyonich, even if he made him pay for his transgression. He has no faith in the human justice system. So that night, Makar Semyonich comes to Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov's bed and confesses his crime and begs earnestly for forgiveness. So Makar Semyonich sobs as he desperately pleads with the old man to pardon him. So Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov also begins to weep. Surprisingly, he says simply, God will forgive you. Maybe I am 100 times worse than you. So at this point, his heart grows light and he no longer desires to leave the Siberian prison and go home. He only desires to die and be with God. So Makar Semyonich confesses to the authorities, but by the time they order for Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov's release, uh, he is already gone. to the abyss of no return. So some of the key elements that we have in the story, that is Aksionov's excursion for a trade fair at the Nizhny, Aksionov's arrest and 26-year prison sentence, the coincidental encounter with the real murderer, that is Makar Semyonich, then Makar that is confession. So those are some of the key elements that we have in the story, dear students. So thanks for watching until the end, and please keep it easy, Elimu. Until next time, bye.